After the Super Bowl loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, protecting Patrick Mahomes became priority one. Offensive line investments, tackle. We saw Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, Trey Smith all come in, be impact players. They haven't quite figured out the tackle spot all the way through to the future. Bringing in Jawaan Taylor last offseason was one of the big talking points for the Chiefs. They believed he had the positional flexibility to not only play right tackle, but left tackle. That turned out to not be the case, and they put him back at right tackle for the 2023 season. Today on RGR Football, I'm going to take you through the season that was for Jawaan Taylor, talk about his struggles, talk about the things of where he still has time to grow, and the simple fact that he is still quite young. 26 years old on opening day in 2024. He has a lot of work to do, but he's not as bad as many probably think he is. But like I said, today we're going to talk about his film and the penalty struggles that he had in 2023. My name is Daniel Harms, senior film analyst here at RGR Football. And if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button right now and then allow me to work my way through this film review and earn a like from you guys for it. So like I said, it's about Jawaan Taylor. Let's talk about these struggles right off the top. In 2023, he had 23 total penalties. That's from week 1 all the way through to the Super Bowl. 9 of them false starts and 8 of them holding penalties. The rest of them were just kind of miscellaneous throughout the rest of the season. But he had 5 of them against Jacksonville, his former team. After opening night, it really felt like he was being targeted by not just referees, but the NFL to make a point. That point didn't receive anybody else in the NFL, apparently. But what we can glean from this is they wanted Jawaan Taylor to make an adjustment. And this was one of the big talking points early on. It was the illegal formation stuff. So he's lined up. You see him all the way back here. His right foot is nearly on this 40-yard line marker, and his left foot is not lined up with the right foot of right guard Trey Smith. So he looks like he's off the line of scrimmage completely. And that's going to give you one of those false starts and one of those illegal formation looks because he's not up enough on the offensive line to give him where he needs to be. So that's why penalty flag was thrown there. And then we get to the next play. This one you can judge at your own convenience and determine if you believe it's a holding penalty or not. But based off of hand location and the inability of that defensive tackle to shed the block, we're going to see better on the end zone angle right here. It doesn't look like a hold to me, but this is the part of the play that we're talking about. So you see his right hand up on the shoulder pad of that defensive tackle. All right, there's step one. Hand location's a problem here. So you see the running backs coming up, and the defense tackle tries to disengage and tackle him right here, but he's unable to do so, and Jawaan Taylor throws him to the ground. Now, this is where I get a little bit in the weeds, because you can argue right here that he's engaged and he's about to throw him to the ground, but we also can't see his left hand. I don't think it's holding him in any way, shape, or form. I think that right hand is what's doing it up on the shoulder pads. And you see, really, when you get your hands up and they're not inside, it's very easy for referees to throw that flag. So this was one of the holding penalties. And then this was the play of every single penalty, it felt like. The false starts, right? He's trying to time his snaps. Accomplishing that is a priority for a lot of these tackles in the NFL. It allows them that ability to get just a little ahead. They want to get ahead of the defensive end's pass rush plan and arc so they can get in the way and make it easier for themselves to just make that block, right? So timing of the snap here, you can see it where we go in slow motion that it's just, he's a little off right there. So he's back before the snap of the football. This is where I get a little bit frustrated because we saw throughout the NFL season that this was not taken seriously enough by the rest of the NFL referees. And then throughout large portions of the season, basically it was forgotten about after this year, or after this week. So this is what he's trying to accomplish, right? This is what the frame of reference is for Jawaan Taylor and his actual timing of the snap, because when you have that ability to time it perfectly, you're able to get out in front of the play and make yourself available as a pass protector very quickly. That gives you a step up on the pass rusher, it gives the quarterback a frame of reference to say, okay, he's going to be there. I can get this ball out even a little bit later than maybe I want to. Ball comes out quickly and on time, but you see Jawaan Taylor wasn't really even into his pass protection stance. Like, he wasn't really even into it. He gets hands on the pass rusher, and he's fine right here. Boom, extends in, ball's going to be out, and there's a lot of room between Jawaan Taylor and Patrick Mahomes. There's a pretty good amount of space. So this is what he's trying to do, right? He's trying to get all of that done quickly so that the play can exist on its own, okay? So I expect 2024 to go differently in the realm of penalties for Jawaan Taylor, not just mentally for him, because I do think it was a huge mental thing, especially early in the season, but as a technique standpoint. Hand location is one of the things that I talked about early on just now. That's one of the big things for me of why he is going to, I think, inevitably get better. Andy Heck is an exceptional offensive line coach, and he is still young, Jawaan Taylor. So getting some of that experience for him last year, realizing what he's going to be up against going forward, maybe some more eyes on him, is something he's going to have to take into account. But this is why he was brought in to Kansas City. He's a very good pass protector, and I think that this got lost in the shuffle last year, because he was penalized more than anybody else in the entire NFL. But again, we see right here, he's going to point out that this guy's trying to get off the snap really quickly. But speed to power was typically one of the areas where I thought you could really get after Jawaan Taylor. And I think predominant speed players we're going to see in these next couple of clips, he was much better than I expected him to be. And that's a huge boon for not just Jawaan Taylor, but for the Chiefs. In the first game of the season against Aiden Hutchinson and the Detroit Lions, we saw Aiden Hutchinson, when he was matched up against Jawaan Taylor, basically be gone. He was ineffective for the most part in that football game. But this is another example of him timing that snap. There's that foot, he's out. And then he's going to, one of the things that I don't like so much about him is that he does let rushers right into the chest, right? So right there, Tuli Pelotu is right inside his chest, and then he's going to look to dominate and get Jawaan Taylor backed up right here. He wants to push him into the quarterback, disengage, and try to get the sack, right? So this is a really good formation. He's upright. He's not leaned over too much. He's not leaning back. And then you're going to see him do a really nice job here of the hop step, right? So right there, he hops back, re-anchors himself, and then negates the pass rush of Tuli Pelotu right here. So this is what I'm talking about. Kind of slow this down for you. So he's pointing him out. It's like, I got you. And right here, you see that double hop right there. The 2-foot hop allows him to re-anchor, reposition his hands a little bit, and basically win this rep of the pass rusher. So he's going speed to power inside, and then boom, it's over. Right there. Still his hand location up on the shoulder pads a little bit, but as long as you're not overly pulling the jersey there, you can get away with that at times. And here we got him against Khalil Mack. This is one of the areas where I was like, maybe he's going to be pushed into the backfield a lot more. But this is a really nice job of kind of catching Khalil Mack, allowing Patrick Mahomes to escape that play and make a big play to MVS down the field. So what I mean by catch him is that he tries to use his right shoulder into Jawaan Taylor and then kind of bend underneath. So you're going to see right here, this pass rush plan, he's going to try to get underneath him and then scoop under, right? The pass rushers, they want to attack the arc a lot of times too. If you're just a pure power player and you can't threaten the arc, this is exactly what I mean right here, this arc to the quarterback. That's how I like to talk about pass rushers, and then tackles being able to defend that arc. If you can use your get off well, if you can threaten that tackle, saying I can get to the quarterback around you as well as inside you, that's when you become a true pass rusher and being able to do both things. So he's going to try to attack the arc here, kind of swat down, put his shoulder underneath, and Jawaan catches him with that, with his chest up, his hands underneath. He's going to relocate his hands as well. And again, Patrick's able to get out to the left-hand side, make a big play down the field. And sometimes when you have shoulder pads that are above, over your skis, or you're a little bit too far back in your stance and you're a little too back heavy, this move will beat you. But right here, he does a decent job of, again, leaning into the pass rush attempt from putting his shoulder in, and then he's going to catch him and rework his hands underneath. I know that the flagpole there gets, the pole there gets in your way, but his right hand is now in the chest of Khalil Mack, and he's pushing him back. One thing that I think people also forget about Jawaan Taylor is he has 35-inch hands. When he's able to get them inside and then extend, it becomes very difficult for pass rushers to get past him when he can establish that power. So really good job reestablishing himself there, and then forcing Khalil Mack back outward and allowing Patrick to escape to the left. So I'm a pretty big proponent for tackles to initiate contact first. Now, it doesn't have to be a two-hand jab. It really shouldn't be a two-hand jab. But when you do that, you're pretty much taking on this pass rush attempt right there. So he gets hands on both first with a little bit of help from Travis Kelce. Obviously, you see the chip down here, but he's going to get hands on early. And that allows him to dictate where this pass rusher is going because he's in front of him the whole time. He's not waiting for this to happen here. So what I like and what I want to see more out of Jawaan Taylor is use your length, use your arms. He does have a tendency to overuse the two-hand jab. And for those of you that don't know, when you use that two-hand jab, you are far more likely to be top heavy. And what does that do? As a tackle who's top heavy right here, this is actually a really nice job of keeping his feet underneath him while using a two-hand jab. So he's got good base. He has a good structure. He's not leaning out too far. And when you have 35-inch arms, it becomes a little bit easier for you to do that. And then he works his feet back with him, keeping the rusher there. And then he extends out, moves with him, keeps him in front of him. That's the huge point for Jawaan Taylor in this pass rush rep. Extension, keep your feet under you, have a good, strong base. Use the chip from Travis Kelce to then keep him in front of you. And that's something that the offensive line is really helped out with for tackles specifically. You get a lot of chip help from running backs, from tight ends, from wide receivers. That's a natural thing in the Andy Reid offense. So use it to your advantage, especially when you know a chip help is coming. We've even heard that Mitchell Schwartz has said maybe they don't always know when chip help is coming. But I think at the end of the day, in this situation, you could see it happening. So he's able to use that to his advantage. So lots of chipping, lots of help blocking, and then releasing from tight ends as well. So that's just an area that I think that we're going to be able to continue to see from Andy Reid offenses, and Jawaan Taylor can absolutely use that to his advantage. But there's obviously going to be some areas where he needs to improve as a pass protector, and this is one of the bigger ones for him. And it leads directly into the next two things where he's going to get beaten by inside counters. Sometimes with offensive linemen, they have a tendency to overset. And what I mean by that, especially for a guy who likes to time his snaps, is you can get too far out here, right? When you get too far deep into your drop, you create inside counter lanes. But even for Jawaan Taylor, who doesn't always overset, he's just ready to go. If you open your shoulders to the outside, that creates easy cutback lanes for pass rushers. But when you're able to generate speed to power and kind of push him off, right here, he doesn't even open up. Right here, there's the opening, and then he's going to get thrown backward, and number 47 gets him back inside. Now, obviously, Patrick Mahomes got the ball out quickly, and then Travis Kelce is able to get a first down here. But this is what I mean. Thrown backward, this is the unbalanced effect when you open your shoulders, and then that pass rusher is going to use your momentum to beat you. Again, he uses the momentum and the power, push Jawaan Taylor back, and then he comes back inside on that counter. So it's an area that he definitely needs to improve upon. He opens the gate, as we call it, too early. Shoulders, hips open to the sideline far too quickly, especially for a guy who gets to his spot quickly. Keep this right here. Use your outside hand, jab number 47. If he wants to go all the way around, fine. Let him go all the way around, but you use that outside hand to make sure that you're contacted with him, and then you can ride him up the arc. You don't have to open your shoulders, open your hips all the way, and wait for him to push you all the way through. So just one of those talking points of inside counters. And then when you get matched up against better pass rushers, like we're going to see here in a second, it becomes a real problem. Now, obviously, with this clip against Nick Bosa, you're going to have more of the ability to continue the pass rush plan. So we're just going to harp on improving from speed to power and counters to the inside. That's one of his biggest problems for me. When I went over his clip, I watched about 5 or 6 games of Jawaan Taylor from the season, and going into the Super Bowl, I think he got better from a run blocking perspective, which we're going to get to, but as a pass protector, the one thing that was consistent from beginning to end is those counters. And when you're against better pass rushers in the NFL, you can really hurt not just yourself, but your quarterback if you're not able to keep that arc firm and not open your shoulders too quickly and open the gate too quickly, because that allows those much better pass rushers to really get after you. I actually noticed this a couple of times. This one right here, we're gonna see Miami come with a blitz. So they're actually going to blitz both these linebackers, if I'm not mistaken. And you're going to have Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be out coming this way to block. You're also going to get a little bit of chip help on the outside from Travis Kelce. And that means that there's a free rusher coming at you. So we know protections are set, and specifically when it comes to essentially empty protections, which on the right-hand side of the offensive line is empty protections, you have to protect the inside first. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of basically being kind of blind right here. And when you have this guy who's really now showing blitz and you don't even look at him, that's an area that I'm pretty upset about. And it did happen a couple of times. I understand that they're shifting the offensive line and you're kind of on your own on an island here, but you have to be able to at least put a hand on a free rusher. But he keeps his hand down. He never engages it. He never even looks at the free rusher. Mahomes has to now get this ball out quickly, expecting that player to have to come from a different angle. And that's one of the areas where it frustrates me, because you always are supposed to protect inside out as an offensive lineman, especially in a blitz situation, which I expect Creed Humphrey and or Patrick Mahomes said that there was a blitz coming, and Jawan just kind of didn't see it. And the fact that it shows up multiple times is concerning, but I do think in the second year for Jawaan Taylor that will be ironed out. So just keep your head on a swivel and use that inside hand jab number 51. You should understand that they're kind of shifting inside here, trying to mug up the bit. And this is it is a good blitz from Vic Fangio, who's going to get free rushers, almost free rushers. And then, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has to block this guy. But it's a good job from Vic Fangio to get that, kind of widen out those tackles. And the difference from the left and right side is that Donovan Smith knows he's getting help, right? So he's also close. Like this should not be a problem. It shouldn't be. So he's doing a good job here. We get the Clyde Edwards-Helaire running off, and Jawaan Taylor you gotta see this guy. So that frustrated me quite a bit, and in some of the clips that I saw, just not being able to always see the rusher. So those are two areas in pass protection that he does need improvement upon. I do believe he's a much better run blocker than he gets credit for. And that shows up quite a bit, specifically down the stretch. I think he got much better as we got into the postseason and down the last couple of weeks in the NFL season. This here, we're running a little bit of GY counter. Noah Gray as the Y tight end is going to go in motion, come back around, and you see him off the line of scrimmage as that Y tight end. And we get a little bit of down block from everybody. Basically, everyone's going to wash down. Guard's going to pull, and Noah Gray is going to come through with him. So you get that, what they call GY counter. It's not GT because it's not the tackle. So really nice job here of Jawaan Taylor blocking down and catching a linebacker. So right here, he catches the guy who's scraping across. You have a defender a linebacker who's scraping across. Jawaan Taylor, eyes up, head on a swivel, seeing him, catches him. Really really nice job here. Noah Gray's going to come fit right here, and you get a nice hole up the middle. Boom. Springing Isaiah Pacheco. Really nice block. Fit for the Chiefs. They fit that well. And really, again, when you're blocking down, having your head on a swivel to pick up number 51 right here, and then Noah Gray coming through to pick that up. It's a really nice run block for the Chiefs. If you guys want to see a clip of Jawaan Taylor helping demolish Christian Wilkins with Trey Smith, go on my Twitter at InHarmsWay19. I put that up on Monday. So it was a really nice clip of him. I got a couple of them up there, and a couple from Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well. So I think he had a pretty good season when he was healthy. They're running a little, if it looks either like pin, pull, or single back power to me. I can't tell exactly which one it is, but the block down from Creed Humphrey makes me think it's pin and pull. But again, I'm not 100% certain on that with the movement of the running back. So Jawaan Taylor gets Eric Armstead. He's not back. He's not pushed back by Eric Armstead. He's kind of given Isaiah Pacheco a two-way go. That's not a bad block. It's not perfect because you're not getting a ton of vertical displacement. But what I mean by a two-way go is, again, we're going to see a little block down here. Allegretti's going to come around and pull, hit Nick Bosa, who comes out here. You also get Travis Kelce to the second level. Boom, here. Trey Smith's going to get to the second level as well. And then you get a little block down here. So for Jawaan Taylor, again, you got Eric Armstead. You have to be basically not giving up ground. So feet start behind the 10-yard line, moves up in front of it. And this is the nice job. So Eric Armstead's fine right here. Using his extension, keeping his eyes. He's a bit top heavy here, but he's going to flash to the inside, which is exactly what Isaiah Pacheco wants from you, because he's pressing here and he's going to go right here. So we can see the blocks lined up for him to be able to press inside and then bounce this outside into a free lane. Really nice job setting up the blocks here. Travis Kelce is going to end up, moving Dre Greenlaw around, and then boom, we get a nice big play. So Jawaan Taylor being not at a disadvantage, and what I mean by disadvantage really is that when you get pushed into the backfield, back this way, Isaiah Pacheco doesn't have an option. He has to go up inside early. So if you get displaced behind you, also you can mess up the puller. So nice job there allowing Isaiah Pacheco a two-way go in that situation. And it's just it's a good, sound play. The Chiefs' run game got so much better after the loss to the Raiders and into the postseason. That's one of the things that we continue to look for as the Chiefs get healthy and ready to go. So we see another sprung play as Pacheco is really angry at the ground on this one. This is the play where everyone was talking about him being, the angriest runner in the NFL, just kind of kicking and pounding the earth away as he puts his head down. But this is the same kind of concept. So you get this time, because of the defensive front, instead of Jawaan Taylor meeting a one-on-one, he's going to kind of block down, okay? So you get a block down from Taylor. He catches that defensive lineman, and then he shifts, torques his body side, right? So he's turning to the left. He's trying to turn that to the left. You get the puller up through from Joe Thuney. He catches the guy coming through, and again, we have a big run lane for Isaiah Pacheco, this time down the right-hand sideline. So based off of where your defensive linemen are really determines what happens here. So this is a really, really good job from Travis Kelce. You get the down blocks, you're going to get a double to the second level. And what I mean by a good job is you have to sell that you're going to block this player right here. So he sells it and he gets underneath. That allows Joe Thuney to come through. Oh, my bad. Never mind. He does block him. Huh. I thought he was going underneath. My bad. I thought this defensive end was going to be the blocker. It looks like they bled up through to the linebacker. So that's on me, not seeing that earlier. So linebacker comes down, Joe Thuney takes him out, and the down block from Jawaan Taylor clears the area for Isaiah Pacheco with the help from Joe Thuney coming up through here. Boom. Everybody gets cleaned up, and Pacheco makes a guy miss in open space, and there he is. Head down, pumping the earth, just absolutely trying to eviscerate the ground. Love that energy from Isaiah, always. And then we get another one of the athletic parts of Jawaan Taylor. We haven't talked a ton about his athletic ability. They don't pull him a ton. I'd like to see them pull him a lot more, but this is a really tough reach block on outside zone for him on the backside. And he's got almost an entire person to get in front of, right? So he's got to get in front of this guy. This defensive tackle, he needs to get in front of him, cut him off. It's an incredibly difficult block to get to, but we see the explosiveness, the athletic ability for him to, boom, look at that. That's an athletic position to be able to go from start, hand in the dirt, and then get upfield around that defensive tackle. Very impressive from Jawaan Taylor. This was probably his best game of the season as well against the Bengals. He was excellent in pass protection, and he was really good as a run blocker. But these 3 plays, I think, show the versatility of Jawaan Taylor in the run game, and he's a lot better in that respect, in that regard, than I think a lot of fans give him credit for. So really nice job on outside zone there, and again, springing Isaiah Pacheco. But this is honestly the reason, at least I think he can get a lot better. He's more powerful than people think he is, and I like stunt version of Jawaan Taylor. He's a good stunt player, even though his protection assignments on blitzes aren't perfect. It's a really nice job here picking up the stunter. Number 45, K'Lavon Chaisson, is going to be a floater. Comes around here, and then they're going to basically come in, loop around, come down, loop around. He's going to catch K'Lavon Chaisson as he comes down right here and underneath, right? Like, so he's a smaller defensive end. He's going to try to rush underneath here. Jawan does a nice job of locating his hands. So he's going to get his left hand underneath, right hand outside. He's not holding, but he uses it to catch underneath, and then he puts his left foot back. That's one of the more impressive things, is that he's kind of able to torque his body around the rusher, get in front of him, reestablish, and boom, into the ground. All of that in one fell swoop, allowing Patrick to get this ball downfield for Justin Watson, who catches this ball. But this is really, really impressive, using that extension and power to dispose of Chaisson into the ground. So all in all, if we try to retract the penalty glasses, right? The big thing about Jawaan Taylor last year was he's not worth the contract because of all the penalties. That's fine. That's fair. That's totally okay. We see that. It's a problem. This is not a L'Jarius Sneed situation in my mind, where you have the penalties and then it's offset by elite all-pro level play. Jawaan Taylor's not an all-pro. He's a lot better when you take the penalty goggles off than a lot of people thought he would be. And in my mind, if you can take the penalties away and just kind of look at it, I think we can really start to understand that while, yes, he's got some areas to grow, there's a lot of tools. He's athletic. He's powerful. He's more powerful, I think, than I even understood coming over from Jacksonville. And second year in the system with Andy Heck, I think is going to be a huge boost for him. Not having to change sides and play right tackle will, again, allow him to continue to grow. So that's a good thing for him. Will he ever live up to that contract? Most likely not. It's not his fault, though. The Chiefs did overpay him quite a bit to grow in this system. Maybe he makes a huge step forward this year. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that there's a lot of good tape from Jawaan Taylor in 2023. And his season, although 23 penalties, most in the NFL, should not be marred only by those penalties. We have to take that magnifying glass and look a little deeper. So, extension, he's long, he's powerful, he's athletic, all things that the Chiefs want. And I really do think towards the end of the season, as a run blocker, we saw more power gap concepts, especially if defenses are going to continue to have those two high safeties. We're going to see more of it, and I think that that's a good thing for Jawaan Taylor and the Chiefs going forward. So I hope I was able to earn a like from you guys for this Taylor breakdown. I know that the penalties suck, and I know that it's tough to really look past them, but there's good tape from him and from 2023. I'm hoping to see even more improvement this season as he takes a step forward. 26 years old. A lot of time to grow. He's not in his prime yet, so that's something to look forward to. Again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I think we're going to see more from Jawaan Taylor, and I hope you guys continue to look out for him, look for him in OTAs, look for him in training camp, see how he looks, and get a better feel for what he's going to bring in 2024. Have yourselves a great rest of your day, rest of your week.